and welcome to the podcast. This is the first and likely only ever podcast that is heavy into metal and trombones. I am your host, Aaron Wilson. I am a professional trombonist and professor of music up here in Canada. Joining me for this and every podcast is my amazing brother, Brian Wilson. He is a longtime heavy metal bassist who now lives in Juneau, Alaska. Together, we are the Brothers in Horns.
In horns. You know, the things I do for our listeners, I'm just going to preface this. I'm sick, man. I'm really sick.
You're still sick.
We rocked so hard. I've never gotten this sick after a show, but literally today is like the first day I've been able to speak for more than 30 seconds without just hacking a lung up.
Well, let's wreck you.
I was running 102 fever the whole week after the show. Lost my voice. So fair listeners, I'm here with my throat coat tea. I have my lozenges here. I'm going to be popping them and trying to mute when I'm coughing. But this is important because this is the season finale.
You had the ultimate bangover.
It's a total bangover. I got to come up with something where it's like your throat. You know, I don't know. We got to figure it out, but I'm going to make it through. So what do we got?
You must have gotten like sick right after you got home.
I'm not going to lie. We pushed ourselves that week to the limit. The first day of going to a Mariners game, I lost my voice like within 3 hours of being on the ground there because we can't not go to a baseball game and just like yell random stuff the whole time.
No, we had to yell at Chris Flexen.
Yes.
For doing terrible.
It was an awful start to a game. The game was fun though.
And, that was a blast.
And then the rehearsal, same day. I mean, it was a long day for both of us.
For sure.
We'll get into it. We'll get into the week in this episode. Right?
Yeah.
So guide us through.
So yeah, as Brian mentioned here, we are going to talk about sort of the rehearsal process, and we talked about that a little bit in episode 5 or
bonus
6?
Content.
Not too long ago.
Episode 6 is what it was.
Yes.
Maybe 7. Rehearsal recap.
I think this is episode 7.
This is 8.
Are we counting the Tim episode as an episode, or is that a bonus episode? I thought that might have been bonus.
We're like 2 weeks removed from the show, and you're already like counting Tim out.
Oh, don't you dare!
Oh, my
don't
God.
you dare put that evil on me! I was just wondering
if
it was a bonus episode.
I'm not the one who said it.
I was just wondering if it was a bonus episode.
I was saying, you said it wasn't an episode.
Oh man, I gotta turn my gain down on this. I am
it's gonna be one of those episodes where we're yelling at each other. We finally got through. This is the natural progression of a metal band. You form, you practice, you play a show, and then you immediately break up.
Season 2 is canceled.
Yeah, this is playing out live, people. All right, so let's talk about it. We were talking about this before we started recording. We have order to this episode. I know that we can get long-winded, so we have a process that we will follow.
We have a process to enable us to speak longer.
This is true. It is ambitious for an hour. All right.
So in this first little segment here, we're going to talk about kind of the rehearsal process, what we thought about it, working with all these old figures from Brian's past, and a little bit of my past too with Jim. But do you want to start kind of giving some of your thoughts on the couple of rehearsals we had?
I'm not going to lie. Like when we were leading into the week, I was very clear with my nervousness with this process. Because usually you rehearse for like 6 months and then you play a show. And we had 2 days that we identified that we could play. One of which was at the end of a really long day where I was like, totally tired. So I was really nervous going into it, but I can tell you what reassured me instantly is we show up, and I haven't seen a lot of these guys for a long time. I haven't played with them for a long time. Some of them I haven't played with for 20 years. And I show up, and Tim shows up, and I'm standing in front of somebody's car. He gets out of his car. He's like, hey. He's like, here you go. And he hands me this like little yellow pack. He's like, here's some instant coffee from Korea. I'm just like, in that moment, I knew we were going to be fine because I was like, nothing has changed here. That is the most random funny thing to be like handed after like all these years. But yeah, no, we rocked it, man. Like, first run through, a little rough.
It was tough.
We talked about it, but that second rehearsal, I'm telling you, we ran through it just fine. There were no issues.
Well, I mean, I put that in my notes too. It's just everybody. It was a very positive and kind environment. Everybody was just so supportive of each other and just serving the music. There was no egos involved, and some of those like everybody in the group has something that they could be egotistical about.
100%.
But no, it was just not there. But yeah, it was wonderful. They all came in very well prepared. They knew the music, they knew their part very well, they knew other people's parts really well. It's like I have definitely been in many rehearsals in the classical realm where that is not the case, and you're just kind of like white knuckling it to get through the thing. But I knew, of course, I had my things about just trying to find the right balance and everything after the first rehearsal. But I had no issue. I had no worries about it hanging together.
Yeah.
And it did. It was really good.
Yeah, and that's particularly impressive and speaks to the musicianship of all of them, that like we were shifting roles in each song like as we were rehearsing. Like people were like, "Oh, this person wasn't going to play on the song, now they are." Or like Tim was not going to play this part, now he is. And they were able to just like step in, take it, and just like learn and just play straight through. And that's what was just so awesome to see, because like so oftentimes these types of projects are disasters, because I was even talking to Ruben Story about this. He's the drummer in Christian Mistress. They just reformed and went on this big thing, right? And he was interviewing me about like Power Castle Days for our upcoming release. And he was like, I'm listening to your guys' episodes and I'm just like yelling at the speaker, because like, what are you guys doing? 2 rehearsals. like he's like, I need that repetition. It doesn't come as natural, even though he's a phenomenal drummer. He's like totally playing himself down. Ruben, come on.
Of course.
Now. But like, yeah, these guys just stepped in. And it made it, like you said, fun. Like I was expecting it to be a grind, 3 hours each night of just being like, okay, guys, we gotta run through this bridge again. We gotta just drive this thing, just repetition. But it was fun. I think the songs that we chose lend itself to it. They weren't necessarily the easiest songs, but they were like, they were things that you could like actually jam out to a little bit, and it had some flexibility built within where like you can kind of like play around with it.
Oh yeah, that fun part. I know after the first rehearsal we were just exhausted. I still had fun at that rehearsal, but we were exhausted.
Oh, yeah.
But particularly that second rehearsal, I just had a blast. Like
it was like a bunch of dudes hanging out, and what was so weird about it was like, we're playing with a trombone in a metal band, and that in itself is weird. And like, it's like nobody even mentioned that. Like,
no,
it was like, all right, yeah, that sounded good. It's like, hello, like, is this what you guys do down here nowadays? Because this is super different, But it was just like, Aaron, you sounded great.
No, that was, I'm like kind of appreciative of that. Like, I didn't want to be the main focus all the time. Like, there's definitely parts I was supposed to be, and I'm happy to take that role. But like,
you're just another member of the band.
Yeah,
like it wasn't even like, oh, this is for this project, or like, oh, this is a gimmicky thing. It was just like, no, this just happens to be a metal band with a trombone in it.
Yeah, it was super fun.
Which is freaking awesome, man.
I sincerely hope we get to do something like that again with those guys. I don't know when. I don't know where.
Well, the group chat hasn't died yet. So
no, the group chat is still going strong, including some random ass dick pic.
What? I completely missed that. No. Oh my God. What?
Oh, who shared that one? Oh, we have to call this person out on the podcast.
Can
here.
I guess? Is this from Chris? Am I
No,
correct?
it was from Dylan.
From Dylon? What are you doing? What the heck?
So Chris shared his monstrous drum setup, which
Yes.
has like 20 cymbals on it.
Right?
You go down a little bit, and he called it his monster. You go down a little bit, and Dylan's replying to Chris. And
Oh,
he says,
Jesus Christ. What the heck?
It's blurred out. It's like, what the?
Oh my God. Dylan, what the heck? Okay. Don't worry, folks. We'll link it in the show notes.
It's going in the show notes. You can see it. We'll put it as the image on the YouTube video.
We will have to remove the clean
Yes.
description after our podcast, which arguably we probably should have a few episodes ago.
Well, probably. Not that we're ever going to get any monetization for this, but
No. What are you talking about? I just got paid, baby.
yeah, you did. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. All right. So I guess final thought on the rehearsal. Like, so after the second one, did you feel ready? Like, did you have a feeling like, oh, we probably need a little more time? Or like, were you like, let's go play the show?
I had no worries about the band. I had things that I knew I had to do slightly different, but I knew that I could do them. So just kind of playing in a different way. Because, like, you know, and I mentioned this in that episode that we talked about, the rehearsal recap episode, that this was a first for me playing with all amplified instruments, with the exception of the drums. They're not amplified, but I played in settings with amplified instruments, but they're like jazz settings, so they're like there's a particular way that they're done.
It's not like full blast.
Well, no, and this definitely was, and that took a little bit to get used to, but it was by the end of that second one, I was like, yeah, I know what I have to do with this.
Yeah.
It felt good.
There was definitely that learning curve after the first one where you were like just blown out.
Oh my
And
God, I was
you were
blown
trying
out
to
after,
compete.
like,
You were trying to compete with the noise, and like it was really just a miking issue. Yeah. And then the second one, when we like, for the folks listening, we like completely changed the setup of the room and like set it up as if it was like a show with like amplifiers behind the drums, and we were standing where we were going to stand, and had Aaron mic'd up in a better way, and sounded fine. You didn't have to compete.
Yeah, it was great. It was wonderful, and it was a wonderful learning experience for that going forward. If when we do this kind of thing again, just knowing what I have to do, just kind of just trusting the system to work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when we do it again,
When I was going to say if and when, but I'm like, no, there's no if about it.
there's no if about it, ladies and gentlemen. We haven't even gotten to the ideas for season 2 yet, and we're already committing another show.
Oh,
Fantastic.
we're going to do another show. We're going to do another show. Don't know when, but it will happen.
You got that itch. That little
I'll do it. I was like,
So, okay, so this is a good transition then. Okay, so we got from our rehearsals, the next section here is talking about like setting up for the actual show. Like, okay, it's like not a garage anymore. It's not your bedroom that you're rehearsing in. It's like you're getting on a stage that is a metal stage. So like kind of setting the stage here for McCoy's. It's a medium-sized small bar, but it's like one of two places where metal shows happen in Olympia. And for the most part, like kind of the regular.
yeah, and the stage was what, like 12 by 12 maybe or something
Yeah, it's
like
not
that?
big. It's not big. Not at all. And the drums take up the whole like back half of it.
Yeah.
So like some of the challenge was really like, where do we fit in it? But then like my biggest concerns going up was like how you're going to get set up there. Because this is not like Benaroya Hall. This is a place where you may get a sound person that may be under the influence of like 3 different things, and they're trying to like set you up as a balanced sound with all these amplifiers. And oh yeah, we have a trombone, and you were having some technical difficulties when you were doing that. Like tell us what's going on.
Well, I could tell, we were trying to get kind of things set up before the sound guy got there, but I could tell that when he got there, it was just like, what the is this? Never had to deal with this before.
I think I remember asking him, like, how do you normally set up trombones in here? He was just like, what the heck?
So I, during the week, I picked up a clip-on microphone, like a really nice one, like perfect for trombone playing in this setting. Like it's built for loud noises, loud noise input, and worked really well in the rehearsal. And I was able to get it to go through the pedals just fine, but it's phantom power. So it's like I didn't have it hooked up to. I had it hooked up in a very particular way, and we couldn't hook it up that way in the actual show setting. And the guy brought down this box, I don't know what it was, and we tried to plug it in. It's supposed to give power to it.
A DI box, yeah.
It didn't work at all.
No.
So I'm like, okay, this
There's
is not
no
gonna
reason
work.
why it shouldn't have worked either. I swear to God, that was just set up incorrectly. I was watching. I'm like, there's no reason why this should not work. This is how you like hook up any other instrument, you know? Like, okay.
Yeah, I don't know if that box is broken or if there's just something weird going on
Probably
with it.
had like beer spilled on it or something.
Probably, yeah.
Yes.
I mean, when the place is selling $1 Raniers, literally to the, like, for the folks in the audience, in McCoy's, there's the stage is all the way in the back, and on the right-hand side, if you're like looking from the stage, there is another bar, like a little mini bar
Yes.
that they sell beer off of. You can just like go in between songs and, hey, I need a Ranier.
Right before we played, he handed me, I was still on stage, he handed me 2 Rainiers. Like, because I was like, we need some show beers.
But it's pretty magical, really. Like I loved it. Like I wish I had that in the orchestra or something. That bar, like, and if you're gonna put it anywhere, put it right next to the trombone section. I mean, like,
Season 2, I told you, when we go do the performance at Brandon College, we're gonna have a bar set up on stage next to all the players.
yes, perfect.
I don't see why not. That's not against the rules. All right.
But
So
yeah.
so you had to. So what do you have to do?
So we then tried to get it just through a regular microphone on a stand going through the pedals. And that didn't work either. Like, I don't know if we didn't have the right cords for it. Because I had my cord that goes directly from a microphone into the pedals, but for some reason it just was not going through. So I'm like, all right, put the pedals away. We just go on straight microphone. And that did work.
No pedals.
No pedals, just
Any
straight microphone.
Any FOMO over no pedals?
You know, a little bit, but it's all right. It's still a great show. Like, you know, you just gotta adapt.
You gotta adapt. Yes, I think that is maybe a difference of like an orchestral setting to like this. It's like, yeah, you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah,
It's just-
you playing in a professional orchestra and they have some sort of setup that doesn't work the day of the gig. Somebody's getting fired, like, or severely reprimanded at the very least, because like they are just, some of those orchestras are just so wound up tight about things.
Yeah.
And
right.
the sound technicians, if there's any kind of electronic stuff, or if they're playing with, I don't know, they have Run DMC for like the Pops concert or whatever. I don't know why I chose them out of the blue.
That's random, but okay, we'll go with it. Keep going.
But they have some like pop group coming in, like they are going to double, triple, quadruple check every single little thing, and if it
Yeah.
doesn't work, and this is, I've seen this happen. The orchestra director is going to just throw a hissy fit.
Right.
And it's just you can't do it. But so we get this guy, and he's a nice enough guy, but young, I would say,
Yeah.
and we just couldn't figure out. So just gotta roll with it. What else
You
are you
know,
gonna do?
I can tell you though, listening to the recording and some of the videos that are out there, like I thought it sounded great.
I thought it did too.
I don't even know if like you would have noticed the pedals, to be honest. And in fact, the pedals might have actually like suppressed your sound a little bit.
There's got to be a way to make it work, and I'm still gonna look.
It could have worked if it was set up correctly. But I think, if we do end up recording, which I'd like us to do,
Oh yeah, me
like
too.
yeah, that I think the pedals would work out perfect for it.
Yeah, and I still like, even with that, I got to figure out how to get that mix of. It's going to require 2 microphones, I'm sure. I'm getting that mix of the pedal sound and the actual acoustic sound.
Right, right.
But
So you get the Peter Frampton mic, like there's like the clean and the vocoder. You're playing in the Season 2.
Season 2, yeah, vocoder. It's all vocoder.
Right. Oh my god.
But yeah, so like my only qualm with having to just do it in the microphone is like I wish I'd at least just had the clip-on microphone, because I felt like I saw you and Tim going up into the front of the stage and because it had this to the listeners here. You had the stage, and then you had like a little bit of a step up.
Yeah.
That you could put your leg up on or get on. Like Tim was just getting up there completely and doing his solos in front of the group, and I would have loved to kind of join in that kind of thing, but it kind of felt I felt stationary where it was. But it still came off well. It still was a good show and everything. So
even I felt really stationary there, because like how it was set up. So again, it's like 12 feet across essentially, and then your drums are like center back. And so Tim, if you're facing the stage, Tim's on the left-hand side, far left, and then it was Aaron. And then it was Jim for the most part, because Jim was on most of the songs. And then it was me, like on the side. I couldn't run around or anything. Like I was like kind of stuck in this 3-foot space. I made do. It was all right. I still have to get my stage legs under me after such a long time. But yeah, we made do with what it was. It would have been nice if you weren't as encumbered, by the mic, but.
Yes, it is what it is.
It was awesome, though.
Yeah, because, for example, on the Dio song, it would have been good for me to kind of take a step back, because really, I don't do very much on that song, and really, Tim should have been the one up in the front for that the entire time. It's just it's stuff like that would have, and just be able to jump around and have a good time, and
We'll play on a much bigger stage next time.
That's right. That's right. We're gonna go.
Go ahead.
We're going from McCoy's to like the Apollo or something like that. Something huge.
Yeah, then we'll get the Hook for sure. So so speaking of the show, let's walk through and see how they go, because I'm interested to hear your thoughts on some of the takeaways on it.
So the first song that we played, and we kind of talked through this throughout the week, kind of finding the right order, but the first song that we chose to play was The Wizard by Black Sabbath. And we're getting set up for this thing. It was just kind of before the show. That was a huge difference for me too, kind of how that setup went. It was very low key and relaxed and everything. When you go do an orchestral thing or a jazz thing, you're in your chair a few minutes beforehand. You're waiting for the audience to get settled. This is like, all right, it's go time. Let's do this. And it's like immediately going with it.
Yeah.
But we had a really good crowd. There was like 100 people in that bar or something.
Yeah, know. it was, and people were up front and everything. So it was nice. It was a little nerve wracking because Tim was helping out at another show.
Oh yeah.
At like a half a mile down the road, and the band that was closing really wanted us to start on time, and nothing starts on time, and so we couldn't start literally until Tim got there, because even though Tim's not in the first song, he's in the second song.
Yeah.
And we can't just play one song and then take a 10-minute break and then come back and play a second song. So there was all this pressure. People were getting up on me about it, and I'm just like, dude, chill, chill.
What can you do about it?
We'll get there. But then the second Tim got there, and was ready to go, then it was like, all right, Aaron, go. Because Aaron intros the song with this da-na-na-na. Yeah.
Yeah, and I was just looking out at the audience. They did not know what they were seeing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But they got into it real quick. By the time, after we did that little intro, which is about 20 seconds of just me.
Yeah.
Lots of space. But then you go, ba-da-dow.
Yeah.
And then, you actually get into the groove of it. Everyone's like, oh, yeah. It started to
I wasn't really facing the crowd in the first song, because honestly, the first song was the one I was most worried about, because there's weird timing. The structure of the song is actually really weird for the rhythm section.
Oh, yeah.
And Like, it's not really a style that Chris normally plays. So I know he was a little nervous on it. He was like, I'm going to play it, but I'm going to play it in my own spin. So I was like, all right, we need to get this started off on the right foot. And in the rehearsals, this was the song that we kind of had struggles with the most just because of all those factors. So I was more facing him. And there was even a part where I just messed up. Well, it was like, I don't know where the mess up happened, but like, there was a part where I just like, I had to stop playing for like 15 seconds, which is like a rare thing because you never want to stop playing. But like, there was a part where Chris was on a different section, you were on a different section, and Jim was on a different section, if you could believe it, like all at once. And I was like, as the bassist, who am I going to follow here? and you were actually on the right section. But if I would have started playing it, I think it would have really confused Chris and gotten us all messed up timing wise. So I was just like, I'm just going to sit this off for like 15 seconds till the next part. And I know we're going to go into that next part just fine. And we did, which was fine. So that was my biggest mess up of the entire night. Right on the first song. I'm kicking myself for it.
Oh, man, I had one of those, like, my first chamber music experience after the pandemic coming back. Had just fine rehearsals, and I had one of those moments where it was like I did something stupid and I had to just like I couldn't find one for and it was like
no, that's a bad feeling
because it was one of those where it's like 1 2 3 1 2 3 4 but it's like one of those like mixed meter kind of things.
Oh no.
I had about like 10 to 15 seconds where I'm like, oh god,
just
and then it's like you get back on, and then I fucking killed it the rest of the time. But
yeah, and that's kind of what happened. I feel like we had that one little slip, but I don't think many people noticed it. You know,
nah.
I could easily play it off as like, oh, my cable was malfunctioning. But anyways, you killed it on the not just the trombone, but singing that.
Like, that was fun.
It sounded great. It sounded fantastic. So yeah, I thought it was a great start to the show. Probably the more laid back song of the entire set, but that kind of gave us a little build up.
Yeah, because it's like, just speaking to the singing really quick, you sing with like no enunciation and you just swing into the vowels a lot, and then you got Ozzy with that. So it's
a good starter piece for you. And I was pretty impressed that you could do both of those roles in one song, and I think that played into the showmanship of the band because we could have easily just had Jim sing that or whatever. Yeah. But to come in and be like, no way, man, this is gonna be the Brothers and Horns project, and we're gonna just own this, like that was awesome. Great way to start it. Great way to start it.
I love singing. But we played that song, and it was I thought it went really well. Crowd seemed to dig it and everything. And then you told me before the show, I was like, you ready to talk after the first song? You got to
do the banter. This is something that we haven't really talked about, right?
Yeah.
You got to entertain, and especially because we're like switching in and out musicians. Like we can't just stand there and look like chumps, right?
Oh no, definitely not. You got to work the crowd a bit.
Yeah,
and I'm used to working a classical crowd or a jazz crowd or a kid crowd.
We're going to play some Stravinsky.
Oh, I hate boring people. I had this one time that I was playing this concert, and it was one with a lot of electronics involved, and like it was a piece where if like how I moved the trombone would trigger electronics because I had a camera above me, and there was like all these different kind of things in motion.
Holy.
And like before we even got started with the piece, and I was up on stage and the audience was there, all the electronics failed. So I had the vamp for like 10 minutes.
Oh man,
I can't even remember what I was saying on there, but I was like telling jokes. I was like working the audience a little bit, and
that's a natural skill set, though. I mean, you host, a very popular trivia for like 14 years. So you used to playing a crowd a little bit, and you and Kate both. You guys,
Kate's the best at it. Yeah. Oh my god.
Well, yeah.
But like with the metal crowd, and especially like very specifically the Olympia, Washington metal crowd, I knew that if I insulted Bellevue, Washington,
Oh, 100%.
it was like they'd play right into my hands. So, it's like, so we talk about just like forming the band and like, you know, what's the most metal thing that we could do to an already metal band is to add more metal to it.
Add some more brass. Yeah, that was awesome, man. That was awesome. So,
but we tell them that we're gonna play some Queensryche, and they're just like, "Oh shit!"
oh, hello,
Because I think they were
Lightning
thinking like
McQueen.
Cowboys.
And it's not that we just played Queensryche. We played like Queensryche's hardest song, you know, like in terms of like a heavy metal standpoint, like the one that rips the most. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they thought
sick.
that we were just going to be playing like all like 70s rock and whatnot, but no, no.
Yeah.
Go play some Queensryche.
Dude, that song went over perfect. Like no notes. Like,
I think that was like the best one of the night, to be quite honest. Like it was.
Yeah, going into the show, like just on my own practice wise, it was the one I was most nervous about because it's such a weird song, like from a bass, like the style of it and the style that I play, it's like very different. But no, we ripped it.
Yeah,
and you hit the notes too. You could hear the trombone, which was great. Yeah. And people like when you hit the first high E, like the crowd was like, ah!
They were shocked. I didn't think I thought I would be singing it or something, or just like doing little trombone stuff. But they're just like, oh my god,
hell no,
hell no.
So yeah, that was sort of like the first like segment of the set was like those two songs, like Statement. Can't give enough kudos to Chris Hannon for how he played on those. That dude is just such a professional.
So much and so much great energy with his playing, and it's just
a ripper. Yeah,
like you driving with Chris.
Yeah, he's really fun to play with, and this is the first time I really got to play with him in a band, and so. Man, I can't wait to jump on stage with him again. Great job, Chris. Great job.
Oh yeah, superb. Just like just the energy of it was just palpable with it. It was awesome.
Right.
But no, that was so great, and just I think they were just jazzed up after it, and like we had to kind of pull it back a little bit, otherwise, because like we had to rebuild the momentum.
Yeah, I was already sweating pretty hard after that. Second song, I was like, sure. Yeah, it's like kind of like when you get down to Salumi again, you have a huge like muffaletta sandwich, and like those are the meat sweats. I haven't experienced this in a long time. Like this is like there is stage sweats, like different. I'm a runner, I'm used to sweating, but when you're playing a show, you are just like it is coming out. And
do you get the nervous sweats, Brian?
Nervous sweats? Yeah, maybe a little bit, but like there was no nerves on that stage. Like it was just like total natural. But man, it's just, you get the bangover effect. You get the like, you're just moving a lot, and yeah, in a very short amount of period, my heart was going. So I was like, yeah, we need to tame it down a little bit. We got to have enough for the big finale, right?
Yeah. So we go on to Fist of Metal.
Fist of Metal. Yes.
And Brian, you lead us off on this one, because this song was about you, Tim, and other Brian McCoy.
This was a pretty special moment, obviously Yasmin. This is our like band we formed in the '90s. This is, it was we had 3/4 of the original, people there, and then obviously Dylan playing on drums as well, who later he played with us in Speed of Darkness. So it was all people I played with before. Brian McCoy on guitar and vocals did a fantastic job, and Tim obviously over there. It was just such a weird thing. Like even just introducing it, like I didn't really know what I was gonna say because we had to wait for Brian to get on stage and stuff. But I was like, yeah, this has been 23 years since like this these groups of guys, these three guys have been like on stage together, 23 years probably since anybody's played this song in front of anybody. And there were a ton of people in the crowd who were like from back in that day that we went to high school with, that they were like, oh man, this is why I'm here. This Yasmin thing. I was talking to like Olivia Love afterwards, and she was like, I remember that every time I walk by this house, that's like where Yasmin rehearsed and stuff. Like, I'm like, hell yeah. So it was like a big moment for us, big moment for them. But man, that was when it really kicked in, like looking over. I remember like looking to the right during that song, and it was like Brian and you and Tim. And I was like, this is so cool. Like, such a freaking cool thing. Like, it just got me. I was just smiling the rest of the way, man. Like, seriously. I was singing along with it. Luckily, not into a mic this time. And you covered my parts perfectly in tune. So it's kind of the first time I've heard that song in tune with backing vocals. Well, backing trombone vocals.
Yeah,
what'd you think?
It
must have been weird,
fun.
Right?
Like, yeah, because I didn't want to be, obviously didn't want to be the main thing with that, because I know how special a moment that was for the three of you, especially. But like, that was such a cool thing, and I that was the only tune that Brian joined us on, Brian McCoy. Mm-hmm. But what a good dude he is.
Oh man, yeah,
just awesome.
Yeah, he is, and. Yeah, he's just such a stand-up guy, just approached it with all seriousness, but also was just so fun to hang out with, man, and just a genuine dude.
Like, totally.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
and a great voice, too. Like, he has such a good voice. And
he downplays it too.
I know it's dumb. Like, he really shouldn't, Brian. What the hell? And they did a great job with Gunslinger too. Like, them Jim afterwards. So yeah, it was like kind of just picking up right where we left off. No issue whatsoever. Tim did a great job with his intro. Dylon came in. That's a touch early, but that's because kind of Tim like played out a note, but like really no big deal. Nobody cares. So
that's
yeah,
fine.
Everybody did a great job on it, and it was just I'll be remembering that one for a long time. I'm so glad that we have it on video too, which is just awesome.
Oh, and just for the listeners here, these videos will be posted. I don't know if we'll do it as one long one or as separating them or whatever, but we will be posting this on YouTube at some point.
Yeah, I haven't seen Peter's video. Has he uploaded it yet or not? Or
I'm pretty sure he's gotten it to Brendan.
Oh, sweet. So Brendan will get it up there.
Yeah. And Brendan's a busy guy. So whenever he gets it done, he gets it done. But
we'll attach a link to it somewhere. So
yeah.
All right.
But that was so fun. But then we moved on to Dio, Last in Line.
Yes.
Which was another, like, just commend another member of the group, Jim. Great job with the vocals.
Jeez. I felt kind of bad because these songs are hard to sing. And Jim had to play like a whole other set after our set. And even he was like, are you sure we have to play Dio before Ozzy? Because like Dio's such a hard song and my voice is going to be shot. And then I got to go sing another song. And we're like, no, this is the way. This is the way.
This is the way. This is the way.
And then like, if he was worried going into like just our set, then he has to sing a whole other one, man. I don't know. I mean, speaking from someone who hasn't had a voice for like 10 days straight, basically, like for someone his, not calling him old, but his age to be able to sing like that is nuts. Like, that's just good. That's just talent. That's talent.
It just some people just retain it over the years. Like, I just don't.
And he was hyped too, man. He was like so pumped for this show. He was like hyping it up on stage and like saying everybody's name in the band and stuff. I was like, oh yeah. That's kind of a theme of this whole thing. It's like everyone was so stoked on this project. Like, they were excited for it. Not just us and like we're just kind of bringing them along. Like, they were just like, yeah, this is like great.
No, they had a great time. And Jim did so much work coordinating this. And he'll downplay it, his role with that. But he did so much work coordinating this, and he
had to put up with us too.
Oh my god!
Like a month or two before, being like, "What's going on?"
But he was great. He played great too. His guitar playing's really wonderful as well, and like, it's just great. But that was
You know
a
what
fun
I loved
one.
about this song the most was that bridge part where we just alternated like the da 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 da.
Oh yeah,
That was such a
fun.
cool part. It was kind of like the only part of the whole song of the whole set where like we deliberately did a back and forth bass and trombone thing. We should do something like that in the future.
Oh yeah, and that would have been a wonderful moment for us if I had the clip-on mic to really connect with you on that.
yeah.
But it's just like
100%.
I could hear you back left for me. But like, yeah, that was great. That was just a good groove tune, you know?
Yeah. It's nice too because these last two songs are like honestly like the easier two for me to play. So I could really just like take it in, and that's what I was trying to be really intentional about. Which is like a lot of times I'd play shows and I'd just be so focused on like everything but the experience, you know. And these two were just like, all right, I'm just gonna like look around, take it in, you know, look at what the crowd's doing, and everybody was like loving it, you know. This total chill set.
Yeah. That's a hard thing to do, to be that present when you're playing, because sometimes you do just get so caught up in what you're doing and everything.
Yeah.
And I definitely had a little bit of that, just because there's some nerves about doing this and everything, and playing some tough shit on the trombone. So
Yeah, well,
it's
you
just
kind of
like-
had to end with like the hardest part. Of
Oh
the
my
whole thing,
God.
too.
But it was really great. It was just a great experience all the way around, and
Right.
that one was just a fun one to play together. I'd say out of all the tunes we did, that was just the one where it's just like it felt like the biggest kind of group thing, especially like at the end where we're repeating the little hook of the tune.
Yeah.
Just like
There's a
over and
really
over
long
again.
outro where it's like Jim's just like with a lasting light, you know, and like it's just like this doom 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 doom. There's like the coolest little group part on a bass. Yeah,
Oh yeah.
yeah. It's just such a fun song to play.
But then so we do that one, and then we go to Crowley, Mr. Crowley, Ozzy Osbourne.
Yes, the big ending. Unfortunately, we couldn't get the pre-recorded trombone intro, and like this is a challenge because we were so worried about like Aaron even getting his sound through during the set.
Yeah, that was the most important thing, was
yeah.
getting that working. So
Then
we
it was
didn't even-
like, shoot, now how are we going to get this thing to play? We couldn't figure it out, so we actually. Like even in rehearsal, I was holding my iPhone that had it on there, like up to the mic, but like it bleeds into like where I would come in playing, so I'd have to pull it out, and I was just like, I don't think this is gonna work, Aaron. Like this is introducing too much like chaos, and so
Well, that night, I feel like I forgot about it until like 10 minutes before the show.
yeah.
So I was just like, oh shit, we got this recorded thing.
It's unfortunate, but like, so what we had to do was ask Tim to play it, and it's on an organ usually, and Tim looked at me. He gave me this look. He was like, "I'm playing it," because like he knew the song, he knew the part and everything. He knows the notes and stuff, but like. Tim's someone that wants to know what he's playing before the thing.
And
But he was
especially because
so-
we told him that we were going to have the recording. Like we said, no.
Yeah,
'cause-
yeah. And he was just like, I'm playing it. All right. You know, he was like professional about it. He was able to pull it off and everything. But like, you know, so kudos to Tim for like, you know, doing that curveball. But yeah, unfortunately, we couldn't get it through.
Yeah. It's all right, though.
We'll
It's
link
all
it
right.
in the show notes. In fact, maybe that's what we should do. We should just like overdub the video of where Tim's playing it, but just put your recording on it.
Oh, but my recording was so slow. I purposely did it slow because I'm like, oh my God, we cannot play this fast. We cannot play this song fast.
How was the tempo? I mean, I even reminded Dylon right before the set. I was like,
No.
under 100 BPM. Do not speed the song up.
No, I had talked to Dylan before.
Yeah.
And Dylan was such a professional with that. And I went up to him after, I'm like, man, you're the hero of the show. You did not let that thing rush. And I appreciate that. Yeah, Dylan was great to play with too. He's has a different flavor than Chris does, but he's so precise and thoughtful in his drumming.
Yeah.
And like I really enjoyed my experience with him.
Yeah, they're both phenomenal drummers. They both have their own strengths at it. And yeah, Dylon is just keyed in on and I mean, he's literally writing out on paper the parts before he's playing it type of deal, which is great. It's awesome. He's working on this really cool project that's like jazz influence, really technical drumming on it. I can't wait to hear it. So
yeah. I hope he shares it with us.
It was great. So I mean, that's the set, and how it ended was like on the high note, which was Aaron playing a Randy Rhoads solo, at the end of the last song after an entire set, and man, you nailed it. It
was so nice to have Tim coming into in spots to kind of reinforce it and whatnot. Yeah, because I was feeling it by the end. Of
I'm sure.
And that's definitely one that if we do more like sort of quote unquote studio recordings of stuff, I would love to do that more where I actually get all the notes in because I know I can play it all. But it was. Any missed notes in there, I was just like, well, who cares? I'm having a great time. The audience was having a great time.
Yeah, they totally were.
And just to kind of cover the last person of our band and possibly there's no possibly about it, the most impressive member of the band, Tim.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Unbelievable.
Yeah, he's on something else right now. I was even talking to Ruben, who's drummer in his other band, and Tim has always been phenomenal, but what he's doing now is phenom matched with just precision and just an understanding of what he's doing at a way more sophisticated level than he's ever played. And it is the professional at the highest level.
I have played with a lot of musicians over the years, Brian. A lot of musicians. And Tim is easily one of the best musicians I've ever played with.
Yeah.
Easily. No hesitation in saying that. That goes classical, jazz, whatever you want to do. Whatever kind of music it is. He is so smart. He is so talented. And he's just clearly has this insatiable drive to get better and to understand the music more. It was such a joy to play with. And there's no ego. No ego.
None at all. No. He probably, if you told him that, he'd just be like, nah.
Sounds about right.
That's probably what he's doing if he's listening to this right now. Nah.
No, he was, I really, all of them I enjoyed getting to know, but I especially enjoyed talking to Tim and getting to know him because I know what a good relationship you and he have had over the years. And it's just really great.
I think he was really into it too.
Oh, yeah.
I think he wants to do more. I think he already invited you to play on
Yeah, we're gonna
something. I don't even think I've been invited to play on that. So
well, that was under my recommendation. I was like,
right. See, we play a show, now we break up. Here we go. Is Tim the new co-host?
Well, I mean, season 2, you got to shake things up, Brian.
Is this your idea? That's the next section we have.
Yeah, Brian, you're out. Tim's in. He's already in the waiting room for this Zoom meeting.
Come on.
Hey. Well, we were talking about having Tim in a recurring segment where he corrects us.
Oh God, yeah, the fact check. By the way, for the record, before the season ends, I know warning came out before Operation Mindcrime. I've been corrected on this by 10 people since that episode came out.
That's
sorry.
All of our listeners, Brian.
I can't. We aren't prepared for these episodes. I'm dropping so many facts down, and now you're gonna get one of them wrong for a second. It was a misspeak. But but for some reason in this show, everybody likes to come and tell me when I'm wrong. I got Kate calling in during an episode. We aren't even live. You got Tim coming on telling me I'm wrong. Every member of the band told me, okay, I guess that's a theme, and maybe that'll be incorporated in season 2. I'm just gonna say I'm showing up in season 2. I'm gonna be with receipts whenever anyone else is wrong. I'm gonna be pointing it out.
All right, there.
I'm pointing it out because I'm sick of it. I've been pointing it out every time. All right.
We need a soundbite to play. Boom, 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 boom. Brian is wrong.
Come on. All right, so that's your season 2 idea.
Before we go on to our season 2 stuff, is there any final thoughts that you have about the whole thing?
I could just say, this was a project when you pitched it. I was like, that's crazy. But all right, I guess we'll do it. I don't think it's going to work. And somehow it worked. But I just say this has just been, even the project aside, just such an amazing thing to do with you. And
of course. I
feel like we've learned a lot about each other through this time. And it's like, just to be able to have an intentional project to work on in kind of a semi-public realm is like just such a unique, cool thing, and it's something that I appreciate you so much for it, and I'm just so excited to move forward and do more of this going forward.
I feel the same, Brian. This has been a wonderful excuse just to talk more.
Yeah, hell yeah. I mean, seriously.
So if you have family members who you're somewhat estranged from, start a podcast.
And you play a brass instrument, you too can reconnect.
Oh, we weren't super, super estranged, but you guys get busy with stuff. And
yeah,
that's all it was. But
yeah,
no, I totally agree.
Yeah, no, it's great. That's why we were joking before. I'm like, season 2, which should start next week.
We'll try to get one in before. We'll try to get one in June, perhaps.
Yeah.
We'll try July too. July is crazy busy for me, but I think we can get one in before.
We're gonna be structured this next season. This leads in. What did you have final thoughts before we go into ideas for season 2, the final segment of season 1?
Just kind of continuing off your thoughts. Obviously, it's been just great talking to you this whole season. I felt like that whole trip, you kind of got a view into my world through visiting with Peter and Brendan, and they
100%.
really enjoyed talking with you.
Oh, they're amazing people. They're amazing people.
And then on the flip side, I got to know a bit of your world too, with talking with all of our fellow band members here that we've just gushed about this entire time. So it was great getting to know everybody and all that. So I wouldn't trade this experience for anything. It was awesome.
Oh yeah, totally.
So, season 2.
Got to go bigger.
Do you have some ideas for some things that we could do?
Yeah, I mean, like I was just saying, we went into this like we haven't done a podcast before. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. Like, we literally bought, like, a couple of mics and, like, hit record and start going. And I can say after 8 episodes, we still largely do not know what we're doing.
We don't know what we're doing. We certainly don't know how to advertise this podcast.
No. But I feel like, though, I've learned a little bit. And I feel that we can structure our episodes in the second season in a more tight format. I'm talking like official segments where it's like literally like this into this, and then we finish with this thing. And then like the episode is done. Which
we need
might
segment
require
cards.
Yeah, segment cards. It might require a little more editing too. But I feel like for the listener's standpoint, having this more structured episodes would be a positive.
Oh yeah. Kind of on that, do you have some segments in mind?
Well, apparently, like, calling me out on stuff is going to be a segment.
Recurring guest, because he doesn't even have to necessarily be calling in at the time we're recording. He could just.
Well, I suppose it depends on what the theme of the season is. Like this one, like I put this down here. I really like the idea of a deliverable at the end of the season. Like it's something that's building up towards something. This one was the show, right? I don't know. Is the next one a recording? Is the next one another show? I don't know. But I think that's something we could brainstorm about, but there should definitely be something we're working towards that the audience can follow along with as we struggle to figure it out.
Be kind of fun to do a recording.
I think a recording would be cool.
Yeah, and I'd love to do some of our own songs that we write, too.
Yeah, it could be writing and recording, and that could still incorporate some of, like, talking about old influences, too. Like, oh, yeah, we should do a section that's like this. It's similar, reminds me of this, blah, blah, blah. Right?
Yeah, like, kind of, because, I've never written a metal song, but I think it'd be kind of fun to write one.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
So it'd be like that would be an interesting thing, and we could write something that's, like you said, influenced by Judas Priest or influenced by Queensryche or influenced by any other group that we want. Hell, it doesn't even have to be strictly heavy metal influence with it. It could be anything.
And we're gonna have to develop like a songwriting kind of like process with that because it's different. Like it's the same but different, right? Like we talked a little bit about how we would write songs in the old bands and stuff, but like. Now we're all like remote, we're in different areas, like we'll have to talk that through. Are you coming up with a riff? I'm coming up with a riff. We're passing GarageBand recordings back and forth. I don't know. That could be kind of fun. That could be kind of fun.
It could be. Like, we each, like maybe 2 times a month, we kind of have like a deadline for ourselves where we send a riff and then, or just an idea of something, and then the next time, we have the response to that.
Yeah, I put like a bass
it.
line down. You put like a melody over it, or like anything,
or write some lyrics or do something with it. Yeah.
Yeah, and I know Tim's on board too. He's writing a ton of songs right now, so we could probably get some guest artists in our songs as well. And that was the other thing too. I think I really liked it when we brought guests on. And did a little interview. So I think we should do a little bit of that.
Oh, yeah, I think that definitely. Like, we were talking about bringing Brendan on to talk about the Canadian metal scene, which would be really fun. And I know he has a long history of playing with the Vagiants and all that.
Yeah, I think that'd be awesome. I think it'd be fun to bring Brian McCoy on.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Brian has his own podcast as well. Like, so we can do some joint advertising there.
Oh, yeah.
That's what we need to get a little better at. We need to socialize, do a little networking, right?
I am so bad at that, and part of me just doesn't want to learn. Well, I love to learn about most things.
Can't bother the talent with the work.
I just hate it.
Don't you have like a marketing department in your university?
You think
I'm get like an intern?
Brandon University has like a little over 3,000 students to it.
There's got to be one of them that can help us out. That can TikTok our show or something, I
got to write some grants or something, get something. Somebody pays for this.
maybe we get some like video going on with our episodes, The number one podcast format or platform is YouTube. Number one out there. So I don't know. Maybe we do a Twitch show. Maybe we play video games and record an episode at the same time. I don't know. We got to figure this out. We are going to do some Twitch stuff on Brian's stream. Yes. Or maybe a new stream, perhaps. Who knows? I don't know. Maybe it's like a mid-season free content. Oh, I don't want to wait till that long. No, in between season, I guess. Oh yeah. Or in between season. Yeah. What's the game we're going to play? We talked about the new Turtles side. Yeah, you got to play the new like arcade Ninja Turtles thing. I don't know. There's so many co-op like puzzle games too, which could be really funny to play. So yeah, we got to get some Twitch going. I definitely need to play Toe Jam and Earl with you if we can make that work. Earl, if we can make that work, I have the game already. Awesome. Did you play it yet? Oh yes. Oh, that's too bad. I was hoping. Like 2 years ago. So. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, so, man. Yeah. Yeah, we'll figure that out. So it sounds like we got a few ideas here. Tighten up the format a little bit. Still bring on the guests. Have a deliverable. Maybe a recording. And advertise better. I like it. That sounds pretty easy.
It'd be nice to, and I don't know if this happened in season 2 or maybe sometime later, but it'd be great to have you out to Brandon at some point.
Oh, I'd love it.
So you can see the things out here.
I'd love to do it. Like, I think the whole, like, the pilgrimage to Olympia was really great.
That was huge.
I think like it's almost like both ways too. I'd love to visit Brandon, get a feel for what's going on there, maybe do a performance out there, maybe with Brendan too, like kind of like a Wire and Bone Brothers and Horns thing. I'd love to have you up here in Juneau too. So kind of more just like learning about each other.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that about wraps our season 1.
Season 1 in the can. I can't even believe it. We made it all the way.
8 episodes too. It's like a real thing, like TV shows are either 8 or 10 episodes typically,
Yeah.
So there you go. And if you haven't liked and subscribed and hit 6 stars on us yet, then
find a way.
Don't even bother listening to season 2 because we aren't making this for you.
No, like and subscribe. View our YouTube videos as we put them up. Watch our Twitch stream. We'll put some stuff out there about the Twitch stream. And otherwise, just throw those horns up.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a pleasure.
Peace.
The Brothers in Horns podcast is produced by the Wilson Brothers. Our editor is Cade Zacharias. Thank you to the band Power Castle for providing our intro and outro music. Thank you also to Grant Hamilton for designing our amazing logo. Check out the episode's show notes for links to the music we discussed today. Our podcast is on all major platforms, and we'll be releasing episodes the first week of every month. Lastly, be sure to follow us on Instagram and YouTube for additional content, both under the name Brothers in Horns.